Okay, hope this lighting is good enough. I'm gonna attempt to do the second part of the Rob Designs a House, or whatever the heck I called it. Yeah, the photos, the inserted photos were shaky. Didn't like it. I'm gonna try something the opposite of that and reverse those two things today. Inserting my software inserts video to video better than it does photo, which is stupid, by the way, but that's just what it does. It's very powerful software. It does a lot of incredible things very quickly. But yesterday it was hot enough, my phone practically melted down. I was legitimately getting concerned my phone would be permanently damaged. I tolerate the heat quite well, praise God, but my electronics do not. They are limited by whatever they're limited by, and there's been a couple of times my phone has been uncomfortably hot in my hand, like oven hot, and that's obviously not good. So at that point I shut it down and I put it in front of a fan or something. I had to do that 3 times yesterday. Regarding trying to save and process that video from the part 1 of the house design, too much information, I guess. I don't know, I didn't like it. So I think those Apple Live photos, I think we're screwing it up, and I think that's what made the images wiggle, because it's the only thing I can think of. 99% sure that was the problem. So do something different. I have no idea if this is going to work. I'm at school, by the way. Everyone's chill. Everyone's cool. No one's giving Rob a hard time. No one's allowed to give Rob a hard time. And I'm just here to support Fawn. I got her all set up, got her some snacks, some healthy snacks and lunch, which you'll see in the 7-Eleven video. And by the way, when I said flirting in there, just a little chit-chatting and stuff, not really flirting. I mean, flirting is a formal process here, and I engage in none of that. I'm not interested, for the reasons I state. Anyways, bye. Oh yeah, this is pretty good light. Okay, so here we go, part 2. Okay, I'm back. Recombobulated my drawings. Drew my attention away for a brief second, and Thailand corrected me. Thank you, Thailand. So, here is a 30-degree, 25-degree oblique drawing. Kind of a perspective drawing of it's a crude perspective drawing. We did these in drafting all the time back almost 40 years ago when I was in school. How about that? Anyway, so that you can see that you can recognize the front elevation. You can now see along the right-hand side of the building. That is the side that the sunrise would come up and hit. And then as the sun goes over the structure throughout the afternoon into the afternoon sun is the hotter sun of the two, just for lots of reasons. And you can see the way the roof is shaped. It's to block that sun load. And this house creates a giant shade for the area in front of it. Maybe I'll circle that in orange on the screen of the marker or something, but that area would be shaded. You can see just ghosted in a 4 by 10 meter pool with my crude attempt at waves. You can also see a small front elevation drawing of showing the house and the shade structure and the pool. So you get a little better idea. But the shade structure does not run along the full length of the house. The shade structure, half of it goes forward of the house, so on its own. Half of it goes back and covers the pool to about halfway or so. So it's in the way, kind of like you angle an umbrella away from the sun towards the sun to make the umbrella give you the most shade in the early or late day. The shade structure is like that, intentionally designed to block early sun. On dead noon sun straight down, it's going to block half the pool, and then in the afternoon, it's going to block a little bit of it, but the house is going to start to block it. So the pool is you could do a little analysis, but the pool is probably 70% shade throughout the day, and that's before I plant any trees. So I want to swim in the shade. The Thai sun is quite hot. It's not healthy for my skin. I've had numerous close scares with skin cancer. That's what got my grandmother. I got it on both sides of the family, and I ain't going down due to skin cancer. So I'm going to swim in the shade. But you can see it gives you a little style for the house. Now, here's an interesting part, though, in terms of cost. I looked at reducing the front of the house to a single story because I don't need a 2-story living room, But I start to complicate the structure, kind of cutting your nose off to spite your face sort of deal. So it didn't make as much sense, and it makes the house look much prettier having that elevation, and it's going to capture more light, which is going to make it really pretty to inside. So outside and inside there's a value, and it blocks more shade this way. I'm ruining the shade part of the whole thing, so by doing that. Now at the back, I did do that because the back isn't full structure. The kitchen is a Thai kitchen, so it's literally a concrete garden wall, which will be the insulated concrete because I care about fawn and some sun could hit that. Plus, it's non-wicking, and I don't want it damp back there for her, damp and dank and moldy and mildewy and all that. That's not clean. And then it's going to have a roof over it, which will be insulated as well. And then it's going to have screen windows, just all all screens everywhere. So it's not air conditioned, it's not climate controlled in any way, but it's got a breeze, and it's going to be in the shade of all the trees along the rear of the property, which you'll see that area is 100% in shade virtually all the time, other than dead noon or something, but it's got that insulated ceiling, so it'd be okay then. So that's kind of how the works out. So that was cheaper, since a kitchen is such a crude structure. I mean, caveman days, really. That can be the one-story part, and the rest is just a two-story box, all the same. Every joist is the same, all the columns are the same length. There's your two bearing walls, the high bearing wall and the short bearing wall, are the same height all along, everything the same. Those are much easier conversations to have in Thai with the Thai building crew, which will not speak any English, by the way. They don't. Here's the next drawing is the side elevation of that, showing that same side. Doesn't have all the same windows on it. This is an older drawing. I haven't worked out all the details at this point, but you see at the right the one-story kitchen and the rest house being all 2 stories. You see the window fenestration a little better, how it's the little window, the medium, and the bigger windows. That ended up kind of by accident. I didn't consciously create that, but I'm going to play with that. I'm going to have some fun color paint schemes with that. Now I'm going to do a little 70s, baby. We're going to do a little 70s painting, and we're going to have a little fun with that. I am a 70s guy, and I'm digging it. This is the more interesting elevation. This is the west elevation. This is the setting sun. We'll see this side. So you see a shorter wall itself where it says siding flat in parentheses. That'll be probably that masonry board. Might take some actual, they make that fiber cement board in long skinny strips like fake wood siding. And I might glue those to foam board to create insulation, create an architectural detail, create some visual interest, soften the structure a little bit. Fawn might appreciate that more. Might just have a little fun with it. I got to think about that. I'm up for having a little fun. I'm up for spending a small amount of money. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot while I'm trying to be either too smart for myself or be too nice and generous, because I've shot myself in the foot during both those times before. One thing I do like about this is the fenestration of the 2 doors and the 4 little circle top transom windows. That kind of came out by accident. I noticed I had an opportunity. If you look closely, you'll see shaded and pencil and eraser marks before, where ghosted in, where I tried different designs. And then ultimately, I kind of like this. It's a little simple. It's a little crude, but it's lovable, and it's humorous, and a little bit irreverent, and I might just stay with it. I kind of like it. Maybe get a deal on those circle top windows if I buy 4 of them. Now we come to the site plan. Yeah. Now we come to the site plan, which I had upside down. Okay. I think this is interesting. So we're going to start from right and go left. First off, you see all the planting areas, how everything's going to be like little rows of soldiers. There's going to be different types of plants and things. I'm not quite sure which or where, but that's the concept, the general concept of what I want. You can see the shade structure. You can see it covers about 2/3, I guess. Maybe that's what it'll end up being, probably, of the swimming pool. It goes forward of the structure. About 1/3 of its length goes forward of the house structure itself. That feels right to me. That feels right. And then there's a little patio there, 45 degreed off to break up all the orthogonality. I'm an orthogonal guy, but I like little angles sometimes. There'll be a tiny, tiny pond and waterfall feature here that runs off a little pump or something. Cheap and simple and small and meditative. Think of the one of the final, was it the final fight scene? No, not the final. The final fight scene in Kill Bill Part 1 with Uma Thurman and O-Ren Ishii, played by that Chinese-American actress. I forget her name. But anyways, there was a little water feature and pump that made a cute little water sound in the background. Something of that magnitude is what I want. And yes, I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan and Uma Thurman fan. So that movie is my favorite movie. Anyhow, so you see the 5x12 footprint of the house. You see a 4x10 pool. And the shade structure has not yet been determined. It's going to be probably between 5 and 6 meters wide and probably 6 meters long. Something like that. And that may or may not be built up front. That may be added later. I don't know. you can see the concrete areas or gravel areas all shaded in indiscriminately. Could be concrete, could be gravel. Up next to the house is probably concrete. Anything very far from the house is probably gravel. You'll see a 4x4 shape. That's a spare bedroom for either Fawn's boys or somebody coming to stay, whatever, spare bedroom. And then next to it is an exterior bathroom. So people in the guest bedroom can use the bathroom, or people walking around, maybe exercising their sore back, could stop and use the bathroom without having to go in the house and take their shoes off. Would be pleasant for some people. A 2-car carport. Now that's really a 1-car carport with 3 motorcycles maybe. That's what that carport really is. Area for very nice shaded, well-protected motorcycle parking. Very, very nice. And then the driveways and stuff will all be some kind of compacted, very coarse, sharp gravel that'll pack down nice and make a good surface for going in and out. And then a gate. Now this is interesting. So this sharp line at the left, and here comes the rain, cue the Eurythmics. That is the border with Fawn's aunt's property. First is a stripe she sold off, a section she sold off to Cousin Huey, which I'll probably never see any construction on in my lifetime. But down the road, if everybody's nice to me and my pensions all work out and all that good stuff, and everyone buys each other a Coke and sings that theme song together, in that case, then I might grade that off real nice and put a retaining wall there and make it look a little nice, and at least maybe do a little site prep for somebody that's taking care of me and made all my shirts and clothes fit really nice. This is 1.3 rye of land, which is a good size. One, it's slightly generous, but you don't need any bigger than that. And this will be a barren southwestern landscape like those 1950s radioactive science fiction ridiculous monster movies. It's going to be barren, combed, fine rocks, some different colored rocks salted into just combed, light-colored sandy soil with cactus and various trees planted here and there, but various areas not planted. Shade management, wind management, and just that sparse kind of beauty that I really appreciate, and the engineers just seem to like. I don't know why. I don't know why we're not warmer and fuzzier, but we're just not. And a good wall all around it. Oh, an interesting feature is if you look at the angled wall, so there's 3 straight lines that make kind of an arc along the rear of the property. That will be either a bright glaring orange or maybe a softer orange sheet metal wall. That will help collect breeze, which, look at the funnel shape, it's made for it. 2, when the sunrise hits it every morning, it's going to light up bright orange sunset. You're walking and living and having your coffee inside a bright orange sunset. I could do that for the rest of my retirement. I could, in a garden with nice breezes, a nice view of the rice fields, people quietly working out there. That's generally not a mechanized operation 99% of the year. I can think of worse ways to spend my retirement. The beautiful Thai lady taking care of me while I go to the gym. Probably have some home equipment here by this point. Maybe get an arm day in and then look at the sunrise. Damn, that works. So this could really work. This could be pretty happy. I don't see a lot of cost here. I mean, I really think it's under $1 million baht. I really do. I might shrink it down still a tad. As I look at it, it might still be I still might see some fat on there I want to trim. And it can be built in stages, as you see. The carport added later. The shade structure, the pool added later. The extra bedroom added later. Finishing the loft done later. You can get moved in. I think 600,000 baht you're moved in. I mean, I already have the land. The land's already filled and balanced. So, you got to pay for the structure and then the wall. The wall's got to go before the house, or your building materials will disappear overnight. Fawn's warned me of this, and I believe her. She knows her people much better than I ever will. She's always telling me things that really surprise me. And then sometimes I tell you guys. Sometimes if it's too much, I don't share it. There's things you guys, to the people that think that I'm like giving the juiciest, most salacious material to the channel, you have no idea how wrong you are. Anyway, so, but it's fun, and they're generally very nice people. They're very tolerant of us, even when we're rude and horrible, and even though that we're kind of big and hairy and scary, and in some ways, a lot of us, we're kind of known to be kind of ugly. It's kind of funny, but we're sort of big, hairy, and ugly. Is the average foreigner is big, hairy, and ugly, and loud. So why do they like us? Oh yeah. All right, so that's the house design. Thanks. Just at the 7-Eleven, there you can kind of see it. Just at the 7-Eleven parking lot, just picked up some a cup of yogurt for myself for breakfast. Not that hungry today. I got a small mufoy, chutlek, a small set of yeah, that's right, mufoy with some sticky rice for fun, and then I got her some spicy hot dogs for lunch, and some seaweed chips, which are actually low in calorie. Anyways, the fun part was, so I was in there getting rung out, and I was chit-chatting with the one cashier, and then the other lady joined in. I ended up kind of lightly flirting and chatting with the two ladies. No, like, really flirting, you know, no interest. And that's my point. I'm starting to figure out a little bit, zero in a little bit of what I want here, and what I want out of my life a little bit at this stage. And I am thinking of coming and going a little bit to the States, because I really do need to spend some time with my boy, and I need somebody I can trust here, because boy, that's a tough one. And I do honestly feel with fun that that's not a risk I have with her. Everyone's got their downsides and upsides, friendships, all that. There's pluses and minuses to everybody, but with her, that's definitely not one of the negatives. But yeah, the mistrust issue, I could really trust her. So you can't trust all the men around your ladies, though. You do have to kind of watch that. They'll really put the pressure on a lady. They really, really will. Hear my emphasis. You do have to watch that. All right, 7-Eleven, off we go. No, thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.